Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. I got a massive migraine right now, but the grind never stops. We're going to power through. If you're new here, though, please consider subscribing. All the support is greatly appreciated. We are so close to hitting 500 subscribers on YouTube. I think we're like less than 10 away. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would be truly, truly appreciated. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like groceries, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. That being said, though, just a little announcement. There will not be news recaps for Saturday and Sunday of this weekend. There's the Pokemon Go Wild Area event. That's really the only time I ever take time off, unless I'm sick. So, you know, gonna have a good time, gonna take a break from the news, hopefully recharge a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Outside of that, though, hopefully all you guys are wonderful. Let's get into the news from today. Moving on into the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first topic we have today is Trump has said the America does not have enough talented people. During a Fox News interview on Tuesday, Trump said that the United States does not have enough talented workers to fill positions domestically. A Fox News host told Trump, "We have plenty of talented people here," which prompted Trump to say, "No, you don't. You don't. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't just take people off an unemployment line and say, 'I'm going to put you in a factory where we're going to make missiles.'" Trump continued, "In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had problems with people from South Korea that made batteries all their life. Making batteries is very complicated. It's not an easy thing. It's very dangerous. A lot of explosives, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted to get them out of the country. Why are we deporting these people if we don't have enough talented people in the United States? Truthfully. Not to mention, they were brought here legally to work with a deal made between the South Korean government and the United States government. They went to the Hyundai plants with a deal between both of those governments. That's why they were here. This administration has to be filled to the brim with the dumbest people of all time because what do they expect? Truthfully, there is no way that they think Americans, for one, are willing to make batteries. Truthfully, the whole reason that people came here in the first place with the deal for the South Korean government between the United States is because they wanted people to work in this plant and to make batteries to produce them in the United States. If we didn't need that, we could have just hired Americans from the start. There's a reason why we were making that deal in the first place. I mean, this raid as a whole was the dumbest raid that ICE has probably done so far. There was no reason for the raid to take place. It only negatively impacts us and makes us look like a dick to our allies. But hey, what else do you expect from this administration? In other news, Trump wants to sue the BBC. Trump has said late on Tuesday that he plans to sue the British Broadcasting Corporation over a clip from his speech on January 6, 2021. Trump said on Fox News, "Well, I guess I have to. Why not? Because they're defrauding the public, and they've admitted to it." This came from a BBC documentary called Trump: A Second Chance, where the BBC sliced together two different parts of Trump's speech. Trump's lawyer, Alejandro Britt, has threatened to sue the BBC for no less than $1 billion in a defamation lawsuit. This is something. Will it happen? Probably. Will Trump win? Maybe. The BBC isn't like American media, so I would be surprised if they were just so willing to fold to Trump, like with what we've seen to media in the United States. Trump's speech on January 6th is what led to a raid on the Capitol building by his supporters. There is no denying that. That is what that led to. Did the BBC take him out of context? Yeah, they did. Yeah. But that doesn't stop the fact that he told his supporters to march down to the Capitol, which led them to trying to breach into the Capitol and overturn an election. Truthfully, at the end of the day, I would say that telling people that support you blindly to raid a Capitol is a bigger deal than, a defamation lawsuit. But maybe that's just me. Anyways, talking about the Epstein Files, as a lot of news has come out today. The first one being emails are showing that Trump spent time with a victim of Epstein in Epstein's home. Emails between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, along with author Michael Wolff, had displayed conversations where Epstein said Trump had spent a significant time with women described as Epstein's victims. Some emails even assert Trump knew about the girls. An email sent by Epstein to Maxwell read, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked, it's Trump. Redacted spent hours in my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there." To which Maxwell responded, "I have been thinking about that." We all know Trump is in the files, and they need to be released, without a doubt. I mean, will they? At this point, I'm not sure, and I would say no. Lawmakers have failed us time and time again, and I will not be shocked when we see that here. But hey, we have a chance to vote most of them out when midterms comes around. So not only do the midterms need to be a blue wave, but they need to be an opportunity for us to change the leadership within the Democratic Party and get rid of the ineffective Democrats and ineffective politicians throughout our country. In other news, though, Trump has called the Epstein Files a hoax. Once again, Trump has called the Epstein Files a hoax as he took to True Social writing. The Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into this trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics, viciously closing our country, while at the same time putting many at risk, and they should pay their fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republican involved should only be focused on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. Claiming that the Epstein files are a hoax when so many people think that you are in them is wild. I mean, what happens when it comes out that he actually isn't them? He'll probably be long gone by then. I do not think, even if Democrats and Republicans vote together to release the Epstein files, I just don't see that happening, truthfully. These files are not a hoax. It is a very important situation where people just like Trump took advantage of children, which is absolutely sick. But it doesn't help his case when he says things like this. In fact, it really does make him look worse. The only thing you can really hope for at this point is Democrats are, willing to release the files, and Republicans are willing to release the files, and they're actually willing to make a push against this administration and stop them, from blocking the release of these files or just saying no flat out. And if the administration says no flat out, I am interested to see what happens. But as always, I'm just going to have to wait and see. Moving on into our other news segment, Adelita Grijalva has officially been sworn in, also giving the Democrats the last vote they need to release the files, or the last signature, sorry. Arizona Democrat Adelita Grijalva has officially been sworn in after multiple weeks of House Speaker Mike Johnson refusing to do so. Johnson swore her in as the House opened on Wednesday afternoon, shrinking the GOP minority to 219 to 214. Where just 3 Republican deflections can end any legislation that Johnson puts out on the floor. Grijalva has now become the 218th voter to release the Epstein files, bypassing Johnson to a floor vote to release the Epstein files, where Democrats should be able to pass it. This is great news. Truthfully, it is. The real question is now, when will the files be released? We've gotten a little information throughout the day. The clock is ticking on either they'll be released or if this administration will say no, and what happens next. It's going to be very interesting. It truthfully is. And I hope the Epstein files are released. I really do. But if this administration says no, that's proof right there that Trump is in them. That is for sure. In other news, moving on into our final topic for tonight, a provision in the government funding bill will ban THCA and other THC products. Republicans have snuck another provision into their budget bill. This time it impacts hemp-based products. This bill, if enacted, will prevent the unregulated sale of intoxicating hemp-based or hemp-derived products, including Delta-8 THC, from being sold online in gas stations or at corner stores. Under this provision, products must not contain more than 0.3% THC and no more than 0.4%, 4 milligrams, sorry, not percent, 0.4 milligrams of THC per container. According to the US Hemp Roundtable, this could wipe out 95% of the current hemp markets, and this would put 300,000 jobs at risk, along with 1.5 billion in state revenue essentially out of the picture. This is not great, especially for people who use weed for so many other reasons in states without legalized recreational use. I've been very upfront about my support through weed, throughout my content and all of that. I grew up in California. I was born on 420. You can put two and two together on that one, truthfully. And although it doesn't seem like this will impact dispensaries, it does seem like this will impact states where cannabis isn't legalized for recreational use, which to me is dumb. Weed kills nobody and should not be classified as a controlled substance, just as alcohol is not classified as a controlled substance. Since forever in human history, weed has been used for medical purposes and, for so many other reasons. And truthfully, there is no reason at all why we should be limiting it. Forever, weed has been used as healing factors for so many things. I mean, even nuns smoke weed, and I don't think it should be limited at all. And all the people who are in jail for smoking weed should be released. Someone left a comment on one of my videos earlier saying, "Great, now because of the Democrats, weed products are getting banned." This isn't because of Democrats. So I want to make that very clear. This is Republicans putting that provision into their bill. Make that very clear. This is Republicans. And I guess that, big alcohol money is really filling their pockets with this one. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. It's definitely been a very interesting day in the news world. If you're new here, though, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated as we are trying to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. All the support is greatly appreciated. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for, like my groceries, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. I already said if you're new here. With that being said, we're out here building a political platform. My goal is to become a politician. My goal is to help people, provide a government and a country that actually cares for its people, and makes it or provides for its people, if you will. So if you're interested in supporting that, drop a subscribe. It would be very appreciated. With that being said, no episodes this weekend, but I will see you all tomorrow.